Yeah. I don't do this often, so I'm glad to. I'm so honored to be here. I mean, when Andy asked me and Kiara asked me, I got so excited for the fact that you would have so many people from various backgrounds and various with a lot of knowledge, just sharing information with each other in such an open way. And that is truly what this whole event is about evolving and yeah, especially in this unique time that we're going through. So thank you for inviting me, and thank you everybody for being here. So yeah, oh, there you go. This is very handy. Let's see what happens next. Oh, there you go, yeah. Communicate and connect authentically by being the authentic you, actually. Yeah, it was a mouthful. My background is communications, and I've worked in it for many, many years. So you might expect me to talk about communication tonight, maybe? No? Let's talk about love? Well, kind of. Yeah, no, I decided, no, not tonight. Communication, just like innovation C discussed, is ever evolving. So I could discuss the latest trends tonight, but tomorrow it's something else. Or I could discuss the platforms that were popular during the pandemic, but yeah, or discuss 2022, but as you know, anything can happen. We can move forward 10 years with developments or have a step back. So, yeah, one size doesn't fit all either. Because you have so many types of communications. I could discuss one topic and then it wouldn't fit another one, so another group of people. So, what I wanted to discuss, let me just go back before I go there. What I wanted to discuss is just the most important part in communication. What for me, the last 15 years, and actually Naftali described this as well, always remained important. Besides all the developments within communication, it was always important to remain your authentic self. Come towards a person with your authentic self. Speak with others being your authentic self and using your authentic gifts. And what are authentic gifts? I'm just going to do a step back and just explain what authenticity is. Who here knows Brene Brown? Tell me about her. She talks about dare to lead, and she talks about authenticity. She talks about wanting to be in a company and truly being some kind of, she says it herself, a person that you think you're supposed to be, and then taking a step back and going towards your authentic self. So that's actually what I want to talk about today. Authenticity. It is the daily practice of letting go of who we think we're supposed to be and actually embracing who we are. And I'm afraid I have to repeat that again because it is a daily thing. Sometimes we think we just get that right now, but tomorrow you might be confronted with it again. So authenticity is the daily practice of letting go of who we think we are supposed to be and truly embracing who we are. In my case, for instance, I'm a communications advisor, and I might think that my day is over when I'm able to just create communication platforms and procedures for a company, and no, that's it, done. But when it comes to my authentic self, did I achieve anything today? Did I actually reach out? Did I connect? Did I speak? Were people able to share from their hearts? That's when you go back to the authentic self. Who's that kid? You might recognize the eyes. My authentic gifts. not communication, those are my talents. I studied in that. But what I am is a great listener. I'm caring, I'm observant, and I wrote kind of small, all the way down in below, that I'm a bit of an introvert. You'll notice I'm already sweating. It's because, I work in communications, but I'm always behind the scenes. And the reason being, because I love the work, but as an introvert, you're always behind the curtains. Standing on a stage is not really my thing. But the thing is that this topic is so important that I really wanted to share it anyway, when Andy asked. Let me just check my notes. Actually, I have a booklet, and they're already in the middle. That's a good thing. Yeah, who here is an introvert as well? Oh, thank you. And I know it's kind of weird to ask that question because you shouldn't put other introverts in the spotlight. But I appreciate it. And, being an introvert comes with gifts as well. In my case, it's the great listener part. A lot of introverts are very calm and are very much able to just listen to others and receive the information and not have to react, or are very observant. But you can be an extrovert as well with the gifts and other gifts such as you bring gezelligheid, you're a genius of some sort, you explain easily, you're a leader, you have empathy, you have a positive outlook, you have a futuristic vision. I mean, there's so many gifts. I was looking at you as the stranger from across the room just now, so I was wondering about your gifts as well. You're free to express one. You didn't raise your hand when I asked for introverts, so. So there you go. I mean, stating that you have to come here with your authentic self, you might think, okay, that's done. We got the hint, we got the information. But actually, I'm just going to share some personal stories as well, in order for me to explain why what Brene Brown says about it being a daily practice to let go of what you think you're supposed to be and truly embrace who you are is important. Yeah. Funny thing, as a student at Radulfus, I just heard that we have a Radulfus party on Wednesday, so anybody else from there, there's a party on Wednesday. And we used to have people from Petersburg also just come by, so just come by. I won't tell. Yeah, but in school I wanted to be a journalist. So I went to the little corner office where you could get information about where you could go study in the Netherlands. And while I was looking for the best city in the Netherlands to go study journalism, I came across the word communication. And it was like sparks went out in my head. I was like, communication, that is something I can actually learn now. Because as an introvert, I thought this is going to be the way to get my tips and tricks to get rid of that part of me in order to, yeah, there you go again, being another persona. And so I went to the Netherlands with that idea. And yeah, as you can see, that is the thought of a teenager. If you think you can just get, go in search of another gift. Woo. I'm okay. Yeah, so I went to the Netherlands, and here comes a bit of a personal story I'd like to share. How, the authentic gift just remains with you. While I was studying communications in the Netherlands in order to get my tips and tricks, I started working on odd jobs as well, among others at the winter shelter in the Netherlands from the Salvation Army, and mostly the midnight shift, where you would have a lot of people that would come to seek shelter and food and so on. And well, the assignment was very simple. You just had to put blankets and food, and then head to water quarters. But I wasn't, yeah, really into assignments, so I would always just go into the living area and talk to all these, yeah, big guys that couldn't get shelter anywhere else because of aggressive natures and so on, and just sit there and talk and listen and I was very curious about their stories, and some of them surprised me with talents and started playing guitar like they're from the Eagles or something. I mean, it was such an inspirational place to be and to actually get to know new people. And at the Salvation Army, they saw that in me, and suddenly they asked me to become a team leader for at a women's shelter as well, with ladies that had issues with drug and alcohol abuse. So I did that for quite a while as well, while I was studying. And at a certain point, I was doing my finals, and my mom called me from Curacao, and she said, "You know what? Do you want to continue in that road? I mean, it's the caring and so on. It suits you, or do you want to go into communications?" And she actually wanted me to continue with the Salvation Army because she was a head nurse at the psychiatric ward in Curacao. So she really felt like she could connect now with me and with the thing that I was doing. But I was thinking very pragmatic again. I was like, okay, no, I studied communication, so I mean, that's what we learned in Curacao. You studied that, so go ahead and continue with that. So I, decided to end that part and continue with communications. But I truly will never forget what I learned at the Salvation Army. Still have good contacts there. So yeah, but I continued on the road of communication. I promised I wouldn't talk about communication. I'm not going to talk about the details, just about the experience. At a certain point, I went to Rijkswaterstaat. Started in Utrecht and then continued at Rotterdam. En uiteindelijk uit IJsselmeergebied, I was able to do press voor de afsluitdijken en internal communication as well. And this was my team. The four of us, we were in charge of the press. You had Janneke, who was the very intellectual, pragmatic senior, who we could always ask questions to, so we could learn a lot from her. You had Belinda, who was always very structured. These are the rules, and she could always inform us how to stay in the boxes. And you had Ursula, and she was like my Phoebe. She was so always with a big smile, and she could easily talk to press, and she always had a good mood, and every week she had another color of hair. I really admired her. I admired her way of being. As an introvert, I was like, wow, those are the things that I wanted to learn. We have just 1 minute left. Really? I thought that's 20 minutes. Okay, wow, I have to head on up. So the moral of this story is, at a certain point I went on to discuss this with my director, and she reminded me that that's not why she hired me. That when we were sitting together, actually what you showed was your gentleness and how calm you were while we were talking, and that's what actually grabbed us. and you always go around and discuss or talk with colleagues and find out what's going on in order to bridge gaps rather than yeah, tell stories. You actually bring people together. So that's what we want from you. As I have 15 seconds more left, guys, really, I'm gonna return and give you the full presentation because there's so much I want to share. But let me then just end with the question that I wanted to end with tonight. I've talked about authentic gifts. I couldn't go much deeper than this for now. But what I would really like to ask everybody is, how would this world look like if everybody would just come with their authentic gifts to the table? If everybody would just embrace these, how would our world look like? Thank you.